Have you ever had this experience? Your client comes to you convinced they can't achieve something despite all evidence pointing to the contrary. They say things like, I'm just not a business person, or I don't have the discipline to follow through. And meanwhile, you can see their potential clear as day. That gap between what they believe and what's actually possible, that's where critical thinking comes in. It's your secret weapon for helping clients see beyond their self-imposed limitations. So what exactly is critical thinking in a coaching context? Simply put, it's about examining client beliefs from multiple angles, testing if what they're claiming makes sense, and looking at the evidence that they're using to support their views. Critical thinking isn't about being negative or judgmental. It's quite the opposite. It's about being curious and open-minded. When we think critically as coaches, this is what we do. We actively seek different perspectives on a situation. We test if what the clients are telling themselves is actually sound. We look closely at the evidence they're using to support their beliefs. So think of it like being a detective, not to prove your client wrong, but to help them discover blind spots in their thinking that might be holding them back. Let me show you how this plays out in real coaching conversations. Imagine your client says, I always fail at relationships. Without critical thinking, you might accept this statement and work on how to cope with that failure. But with critical thinking, you get curious. You might ask, always? Have there been any relationships, even brief ones, where things went well? What specifically defines failure in your relationships? Is it possible there were successes within these relationships that you're overlooking? See the difference? You're not dismissing their experience, but you are examining the absolutist black and white thinking in always fail and exploring if there's more to the story. Here's another example. Client says, I need to go back to school to change careers. Without critical thinking, you might just help them choose a new degree program, another certificate to get. With critical thinking, you'd ask, what evidence do you have that a degree is absolutely necessary? You can ask, are there people in your target field who took alternative paths? What specific skills are you looking to gain, and is school or university the only way to acquire them? The critical thinking approach helps your client examine their assumptions rather than acting on them automatically. Now it's your turn to practice. Here's what I want you to take away and try. First, start noticing the difference between objective and subjective statements your clients make. Okay, so objective, I've been in 3 relationships that ended within a year. Subjective, this is like the personal opinion, I'm terrible at relationships. Second, practice creating powerful questions that probe beneath surface claims. When your client makes an absolute statement, I'm not creative, I always mess up, nobody respects me, craft a question that invites them to examine the evidence. For homework, write down 3 common limiting beliefs you hear from your clients. For each one, create 3 questions that would help them think more critically about that belief. Remember, the goal isn't to prove them wrong, it's to open up possibilities they may not see for themselves. Next, we'll build on these fundamentals and learn how to read client situations with a critical eye, just like academics learn to read texts critically. Pop any questions you got in the comments. I'd love to hear how you might already be using some of these principles in your coaching already. Good luck, everyone. Cheers.